All right, good evening and welcome. We may get started. Thank you for joining us here this evening for what I believe is a very important time for your son in the real selection of choice for Year 10 moving into Year 11 and Year 12. So my name is Ray Hill. I'm the Director of Studies and Curriculum here at Hale. This is my 6th year in this position, so I'm becoming a bit of an old hand at these presentations. If you have an older son that's gone through, you may have heard from me prior. Part of my role involves supporting the heads of house and heads of department in making the right sub-selections for your sons, and then supporting them if there's any particularly tricky subject selections or interesting course pathway that may need to be approached. I will monitor the pathways for each of your sons as they move through senior school, and particularly in Year 10, 11 and 12, and monitor their academic results and hope to support them along the way in their journey. So it is not unusual for you to meet me at some stage to help your son transition from each year and certainly into post-school destinations. Year 10 forms the first part of where the students will get to select their subjects. There's a lot of choice for them to select, which can help them in a number of ways. It can help them in their selections for Year 11 and for Year 12. It can help them give a broad idea. It can help fan an interest of their particular subject, which they may like to choose. And we're hoping that in these selections, they forms a balanced education which will meet the state requirements, but also to diversify or get them to choose subjects where they are particularly interested in. When looking at these subject selections in Year 10, there's a broad range of subjects that they can choose from, so it's important to keep an eye on what they want to select in Year 11 and Year 12, what is happening with their career pathways once they exit university, if indeed university is their destination. Choosing subjects in Year 10, they must choose the appropriate courses that will give them appropriate background for their selection at Year 11 and 12 level. But importantly, this year provides you an opportunity to just have a go at some subjects, to try something they may be interested in or curious about, so that they may choose some subject or pathway that they, in Year 11 and 12, which they weren't probably anticipating at this year level in Year 9. Assessment reporting, I guess that continues as is for Year 9 and Year 10. We produce letter grades in Year 10, but I think the big difference from Year 9 to Year 10 is there is an examination period in Semester 1 and Semester 2. In order to prepare them for the examination periods in Year 11 and Year 12 that the majority of students will be undertaking. It is aimed by getting these practice in at this young age level that they'll be completely comfortable with assessment, because in the ATAR stream in Year 12, the examinations form approximately 75% of the assessments for those boys. So it's important they're comfortable, they're well drilled, they go through the trials and tribulations of the study period and refining their particular study skills. So this is why we do examinations in Semester 1 and Semester 2 of Year 10. We are bound by the state requirements and Australian requirements in Year 10, but we've I believe, has cleverly created a selection suite of subjects which you can go into great depth for or diversify depending on your son's particular interests. But the compulsory courses in Year 10 must be taught, but how we deliver them varies depending on what you select. So English is compulsory and you'll be placed in an English class. Same with mathematics. Your mathematics class will be selected based on the results in Year 9, and they'll move into those particular math streams, and I'll speak about that on the next slide. Science, it is compulsory that they must study all 4 of biology, chemistry, earth and space science, and physics, but how your son chooses to do so is up to their particular interest and strengths. Similarly, for humanities and social sciences, you must study some elements of history, geography, business and economics, and civic and citizenship, but again, it is up to them how they select their particular subjects. Health and PE, as per Year 7, 8, 9, will continue in Year 10, and that will be a compulsory part of their education. First, I'll start with mathematics, which as a mathematics teacher may not surprise you, myself. So the mathematics classes are now divided into 4 streams. As the year levels progress, there does become a difference in ability in year 10, 11 and 12. So the maths department have structured it such that math support will continue, where they're working on the WA curriculum. There is an opportunity for boys that achieve very well in that math support class to move between terms into mathematics if that's what they choose, or more appropriately they stay in that class and benefit from the low class numbers and the extra support that is put in place. The mathematics course, which is approximately 4 classes of low class numbers, is the standard maths course taught across the state at every school. It is algebraic in nature, it's rigorous and difficult, and leads on to maths applications in most instances. Maths A is an extension course, and around the state this is given to approximately 1 class or maybe 2 classes in most schools. At Hale we present Mathematics A to 4 classes, deliberately so because our boys are ambitious when they move into year 11 and 12. We are so proud of our students' achievements in mathematics. We have approximately 120 students in year 11 that will take mathematics methods at an ATAR level, moving on to nearly 80 to 100 students in year 12, which is the largest numbers in the state outside of Perth Modern School, which is academically selective. So, and the extension class, it's worth noting, has changed from its structure from this year to next year. Last year, it used to be called Mathematics IGCSE Additional Mathematics. The mathematics department have changed how they're going to be teaching mathematics to this group of students. They found that the IGC additional mathematics was a little bit limited in scope and perhaps didn't prepare them as well as they would have hoped for year 12. So what they're doing is they've devised a new course that takes some of the best elements of IGCSE and mathematics and more appropriate to their level of development. I've had a look at the course and I think it's a fantastic course for those particular boys and will prepare them extremely well for success in year 11 and 12. So yeah, that's important to know. Mathematics, students and parents will be informed at the end of term 4 about which classes they are placed in, and as usual, there is movement between those classes based on how students achieve throughout the year. Aside from, so maths and English and health and PE are set classes, but you can choose in the rest of these compulsory subjects. So for humanities and social sciences, students will study compulsorily, they must study this compulsory history, civics and citizenship unit for 1 semester. Then they can choose from other options so that they can tick off all the HASS requirements for those particular courses. And I'm going to speak to this in depth in the best way that I can possibly explain it, and then answer questions at the end of the presentation if I haven't got it quite right or as clearly as I have hoped. Similarly for science, there is 3 compulsory options. You can choose from 1 for 3 compulsory options, and I'll go through that in great detail. Then how you study the languages. Languages is not compulsory in year 10, but is compulsory if you are planning on studying it in year 11 and 12. Similarly, the arts, technologies, philosophy and physical education units on top of the health and PE, that is the minimum requirement, can be selected based on your son's particular interest. 10 is the number I'm going to keep repeating. That's the number of units that you have to select so that all these are satisfied and ticked off on. And 5 is the other number. 5 in semester 1 you'll be selecting, and 5 in semester 2. So we have 10 choices as we go, 5 in semester 1 and 5 in semester 2. Your sons may currently be in curriculum support, which is really helping their functional literacy and helping them to access that curriculum. I've just had a look at some of the results from some external testing. I'm so proud of the improvements that those boys are making. If you are recommended to continue in curriculum support from year 9 to year 10, then that will form a unit in semester 1 and form a unit in semester 2. So there will be, instead of 10 selections, you'll have 8 selections. There's going to be a maths theme, so let's just see whether I can get this through as best as possible. Course offers in year 10, 11 and 12, and the courses that move on between the years. So English is compulsory in year 10, and that will lean on to English or literature, and the English can be taken at ATAR or general level, and literature is an ATAR course. The mathematics, which is also compulsory, you can see there's 4 streams, and those 4 streams largely lead on to the 4 streams to the right. If you're a maths support, generally you would move on to maths essentials. The maths standard would move on to maths applications. And if you're in the 10A course or the extension course, you'll have the option of selecting math methods and math specialists, or just math methods on its own. So that's how those options work. For humanities and social sciences, we have a raft of potential selections in Year 10 that will lead on to accounting and finance, business management, enterprise general. I don't think I'm going to read through all of these. You can read for yourself, and it is in the course handbook, but there's a wide variety of HASS and social sciences courses. The science courses are biology, chemistry, human biology and physics, and choosing the right options in Year 10 will lead on to those particular courses. And similarly for languages, if we're moving on to Year 11 and 12 for languages, then it is compulsory to select those particular languages in Year 10. Moving on to the other page, we've got the arts. There's a wide variety of arts units, and we're excited by some of these options, particularly since the new building has come in place with the Media and Drama Centre. So drama, media production and analysis, music and visual arts are very popular options for our boys. And similarly, technologies with engineering studies, MDT wood, MDT metal, and applied information technology is great choices for those boys. Health and phys ed, if they're thinking of doing PE studies in Year 11 and 12, then there is a whole semester-length course for health and for PE studies in Year 10, which again, as you imagine, would be a popular course for boys at Hale. And if you're moving into the vet pathway, there's no particular prerequisites, but we hope that there's so much choice there for those boys that you'll find an interest in a particular field or pathway that will lead on to a plethora of certificates and options in Year 11 and Year 12, and a real individualised options for your son, whether it's work experience, a combination of ATAR general subjects. It really is an exciting field for those boys looking to move down that particular pathway. So we'll move on. Okay, 10. 10 is what we're having to select here, 5 in semester 1 and 5 in semester 2. Humanities and social sciences is compulsory, and we must cover a history, economics and business, and the geography in whatever form that you like. So if your son isn't HASS inclined and wants to take the minimum option, or perhaps just wishes to choose from the other suite of options that's available, then they must select firstly history, civics and citizenship, either in semester 1 or semester 2. That's compulsory. They must select one of those units up the top. And then they can choose the minimum, which would just be taking the geography and economics and business unit. That is 1 term of geography and 1 term of economic and business together, and that can tick off the HASS requirement for the WA curriculum. However, a lot of boys wish to go and take economics or accounting and finance or geography in Year 11 and Year 12, so they want a deeper understanding of that course material, and we're able to provide that by doubling the amount of economics and business they're taught over 1 whole semester, or doubling the amount of geography that's taught. They teach it over a whole semester, which does give them a great advantage moving into Year 11 and 12 over other schools. So once they've selected the history unit, they may then choose 2 units of geography and economics and business. And they select that in the semester which is appropriate to balance out the 5 units in semester 1 and the 5 units in semester 2. So we discourage students from selecting 3 HASS courses all in semester 1, for example, because we want a nice balance between the 2 semesters. In addition, you can select up to 4 courses. Once you've selected those 3, say, the 4th course can be chosen. It could be ancient history. That could be a passion of your son. It could be modern history, which is also a popular option. And they can select that extra unit on top of the HASS Civics and Citizen unit in either semester 1 and semester 2. So first for the HASS options, you can select a minimum of 2, which is quite a popular option. Similarly, you can choose 3, which is probably a more popular option. They're all popular, it sounds. And then the 4th one, if they're history inclined, they can choose up to 4 if they wish. Minimum of 2, up to 4. 10 is what we're aiming for. Sciences. All right, good luck, Mr. Hill. Let's see how we can get through the sciences. A minimum of 2 and a maximum of 5 in this particular area. Now, the minimum, if your son is not science inclined, they would select the WA Science, Physics and Chemistry unit, either in semester 1 and semester 2. Then they'd select the WA Science, Biology and Earth Space Science unit in semester 1 or semester 2. They would generally put those in both semesters, or in either in corresponding semesters. And that's the minimum requirement. Generally, those boys aren't moving on to science the following year, but maybe they are, but just wish to select other subjects. In addition to that, they may wish to have a biology subject which is a little bit in more depth in biology and a little bit less in earth and space science. And we're allowed to do this by SCASA. So your son may do the physics and chemistry unit and then take biology 1 unit instead of biology, earth and space science. That biology 1 unit covers all of biology, but the earth and space science is just not, it doesn't go into as great a depth. What that allows is for boys that are heading into biology, particularly in year 11 and year 12, they'll select this option because it gives them a greater grounding in biology and gives them the minimum of physics and chemistry. For boys that are moving on to physics and chemistry or just wish to try these particular units because it's of interest and may look good in their resume moving forward, then they can choose option 3, which covers off on all the 4 sciences with 3 optional courses. So you'd select Chemistry 1, Physics 1 and Biology 1, either in semester 1 and semester 2. And what that's doing is giving a semester-long course in chemistry, semester-long course in physics and in biology, which is the double of the amount of science that's required by the state and really does prepare them well for year 11 and 12. Now, if your son hasn't had enough of science, and often that's the case for probably about 40 or 50 students at Hale, it is a popular course to be taking, then they can then select 2 more options if they'd like. So if they really want to go into depth in physics, then they'll select Physics 1 in semester 1 and then Physics 2 in semester 2. You obviously have to complete Physics 1 before taking Physics 2. And what that will do is give 4 times the amount of physics as compared to the state curriculum, and clearly that will prepare them well for year 11 and year 12. Similarly, you can take Chemistry 1 and then Chemistry 2 in semester 2. Chemistry 1 taken first, and that will give them 4 times as much chemistry. Environmental science, it doesn't lead on to a particular year 11 and 12 subject, but it does fan an interest for post-school destinations for some students, and it's a particularly nice course to do. And similarly for human biology, it's not a prerequisite for taking human biology in year 11 and year 12, but again, if your son has an interest in this particular area and has still got selections left over, then they could select that. So, a minimum of 2 sciences. The majority, it would be fair to say, would take 3, but they could take up to 5 sciences if they can still have those options. So that's the science options. I wish all the heads of house good luck in explaining that. We'll move on. So at this stage, we've chosen our HAS and we've chosen our science. If you've chosen the minimum option for those 2 courses, that means you've selected 4, and we're looking for 10. So the remaining 6 will come from this particular page, which is an exciting page for a lot of students. Clearly, if you're heavily science-based in year 11 and year 12, and you want to take 5 courses, and you're HAS-based and you've taken 4 courses, then it only leaves you 1 more course to select, which is a shame, but then also fantastic for that particular boy because he's found his area that he wants to really spend some time in. For students taking languages in year 11 and 12, then they must select in semester 1 and semester 2 the corresponding language course, which would be French 1 and French 2 if you're doing French, clearly Chemistry 1, Chinese 1 and Chinese 2 if you're taking Chinese. If you're a music scholar, then you are taking, or on a music scholarships, you'll take Music 1 and then Music 2. Clearly you can't take every subject, you can only take a maximum of 10. So there are students out there that are music scholarship students that want to take languages, take Physics 2, Chemistry 2, and that Ancient History unit. Unfortunately, it's not possible to do them all, so you just need to choose wisely under the guidance of your head of house. Now, prior to this talk, prior to this evening, I thought I'd go through each individual unit. Perhaps I won't, but there is a course handbook which will be your Bible for going through these particular courses. Your heads of house have an excellent knowledge of what these courses entail, and the prerequisite page is really important for looking at what is required for Year 11 and 12. Just looking through that, the opportunity to do drama for a semester or drama performance production, working backstage. The media, which is one semester, will lead on to the media unit and making use of our facilities. Clearly, music contemporary is a popular option for boys, music 1, 2. And now I'm going to just read through them all now because the heads of the department will be upset if I leave one out. Introduction to philosophy. They haven't done an introduction to philosophy unit prior, and this will lead on to philosophy and ethics, which is an incredibly popular course for course for boys that are interested in this field, and often one that they try for the first time. ART is our programming course, and that will lead on to AIT in Year 11 and Year 12. Woodwork, metalwork is your traditional subjects, leading on to ATAR or general in Year 11 and 12. Engineering studies is another programming but design-based unit that really is a hand-on unit, which a lot of boys enjoy as well. And that can be taken in semester 1 or semester 2. And the phys ed studies unit, which is one semester only. I think many boys would want to take it in both semesters, but they do have a compulsory health and phys ed course, and they'll select this if they're looking to move on to PE studies in Year 11 and Year 12. So I did go through all the units like I'd planned in my head prior to this talk. Prerequisites. It is important to keep one eye on what we need for Year 11 and Year 12. The general courses don't have any set prerequisites. This is all available on the handbook, and this will be recorded if you wish to look at this again later. So the general courses don't require prerequisites, but clearly if your son is interested in particular courses in Year 11 and 12, they will be selecting the corresponding Year 10 units. A lot of courses, it's desirable but not required, but you just must keep an eye that some are required for entrance into those particular courses. For some students that want to select everything and then they can't, and then they come to Year 11 and they really did wish to take economics without taking economics and business 1, as long as they've achieved a high grade in the standard course, then we generally will accept you into that particular course. In the past, we've had 3, as I mentioned prior. The chemistry, the IGCSE additional mathematics won't be continued for the next couple of years in favour of a HAL-based extension course. That's important to note. But the chemistry and physics departments will continue to work towards the IGCSE examination for the top 20 students and in their physics 2 unit, and the top 20 students in the chemistry 2 unit. So how that works is a student that's interested in getting this qualification or working towards this, which is a Year 11 exam, they'll complete chemistry 1 and chemistry 2, and if they're in the top 20 students, they'll be invited to join the IGCSE chemistry course in Year 11, which will work on the state chemistry course, but also on the side they'll be working towards the chemistry exam, which is either done in July or November based on where they are at the course for that particular year. And similarly for physics, if you wish to be involved in this and be in the top 20 students in physics, you'll be invited to take the physics IGCSE examination if you're in the top 20 students in physics 2 unit. What these qualifications do, it's the international Cambridge exams. They aren't used as credit for the state system. They aren't necessarily used towards the entrance into university. However, they are recognition that your son has completed a real deep understanding of physics and chemistry over their years of Year 10 and 11, and can look good on a resume. So the physics and chemistry departments are really confident that this provides them a deep understanding, and clearly they do really well in Year 11 and Year 12. However, you can still do well in Year 11 and Year 12 without being invited into the Chemistry and Physics IGCSE class, as evidenced by a number of our top students coming from the standard stream. So any more information, I'll speak to that because I'm aware it's only important for 20-odd students. I'll move on. Looking ahead, so it's important to have an eye on the future, as I mentioned previously. In Year 11, we'll select 6 courses. So we've moved from Year 9, where there's many courses, Year 10, which there is still many courses as well, which they've selected a broad range of courses. In Year 11, it becomes quite narrow. There's only 6 courses they'll select. Some Year 11 ATAR courses will require background, as I've mentioned, and I also said that there's no Year 11 general courses that require background, but clearly students will find an interest in their particular subjects from what they have selected in Year 10. Moving on to Year 12, those 6 courses will then either remain 6, and probably about 50 of our students out of 200 will keep doing 6 subjects. Often for boys doing 6 subjects, they're either from the general stream that are really trying to get as many units as possible in entrance into university or TAFE, or it could be from boys in the ATAR stream that are looking for a broad range of subjects and to maximise their ATAR. Often boys that are in the general stream with 6 subjects will move on to university if that's where they wish to go, and there's no obligation to do so. You can still obviously have success without going on to university. That's very important to note. However, and a lot of our top ATAR students will take 6 subjects because there's bonuses attached. Bonuses, ATAR bonuses. If you're following the media closely around Year 12 ATAR bonuses, you'll note that for when your son is in Year 12, it's intended that the bonuses may be scrapped. What those bonuses are, and I'll explain the calculation on the next page, they're incentives to take languages or numerical incentives to take a language course, mathematics methods, and maths specialists. So they're additional marks added on to your tertiary entrance rank so that they will get numerical advantages from taking those courses. It's to encourage them into those fields of study because we have seen a decline nationwide and statewide of students taking languages and the higher maths course. So at Howell we are supportive of incentives to get students across the state into these particular courses. So what does that look like for your son in Year 12? The short answer is I'm not quite sure. I'm part of a committee or reviewing this decision at this point in time. There's a submission paper from TISC, which is our governing body for scaling the entry into university, where they're seeking consultation about what this may look like. It would be highly unlikely that if this incentive was removed, that there wasn't an incentive put in its place to encourage students into this field. We want to make sure statewide and nationwide, as is done in all other states, that students get the benefit from selecting academically rigorous subjects. We want to encourage them to get the highest education that they're able to achieve success in. So if bonuses are removed, there's a raft of other incentives in the eastern states that we could take into account that the eastern states have, whether it's increments, whether it's ATAR bonuses for particular courses. But unfortunately, I'm not able to give you that information or what that looks like now. So my advice to you is if you are interested in incentives and you think that's important for an academically selective course, such as medicine, or it could be an engineering scholarship that you're interested in, then I continue to select those courses with the knowledge that those bonuses may still be in play for Year 12. They haven't been removed as yet. If they are removed, then there's likely to be other incentives put in their place. It would be highly unlikely, and certainly something we're not advocating for, that there be no incentives at all. I'm sorry that I can't provide any further clarity at this point in time, but yes, please know that there would likely still be incentives. There's many different pathways to university. It's really important to note this. There's been an open door enrolment policy since COVID, it would seem, to ensure that more and more students have access to university through many different pathways of their choice. So whilst we believe at Hale the best preparation for examination-based courses at university are the examination-based courses at high school, and the support put in place here under the ATAR courses can help you academically when you move through to university, it is true that around the state, many other students are taking a raft of other ways to get into uni. You can get into uni courses, the majority of uni courses, through entirely general pathway, or certificates in general, or a combination of general subjects and ATAR subjects. And many boys are successful at Hale, taking this particular pathway to move on to university courses if that's what they so choose. So it's important at this stage, if you are interested in those particular pathways, to just keep one eye on the university entrance criteria. I understand that your son's in year 9 and he's just selecting his year 10 subjects, and this is 4 years away, but it is always nice to know what the universities are offering so that you are selecting appropriately at this particular juncture where there's lots of choice involved. VET, vocational education and training, is that pathway I'm speaking about, which would be mainly general subjects, some ATAR, certificate courses, work experience, to really build a portfolio for the next stage in their educational journey post-school. I mentioned that I'm going to do some calculations here just so you see what a bonus may look like. This is really just to give my mind a break because I love mathematics so much. Here we go, we've got 6 subjects these students have selected: English, geography, math specialists, math methods, chemistry and French. And the way our current bonus system works is they will receive a 10% bonus for each of their scores that will be added on to their TEA, their tertiary entrance aggregate. What we do is we add up the best 4 scores out of their 5 or 6 subjects, which is compulsory for graduation, add up the best 4 scores, and then we rank them based on everyone else that's taken an ATAR course. And where they rank will be what their corresponding ATAR score is. So you can see their best 4 scores here added up to 287, which is out of a possible 400 because 400 would be 4 times 100. And that gives them a 92 ATAR, which places them better than 92% of their peers in the state out of ATAR students and non-ATAR students. So how they quite calculate the rank based on non-ATAR students that don't sit in ATAR, there's a little bit of mathematical wizardry that occurs in the background, but it's enough to know that they're in the top 8% of students with that particular score. With the bonuses or incentives that are applied for these 3 subjects, we add on marks to that rank, and the rank then becomes out of 430. Can you imagine that an extra 10% bonuses get out of 430? And automatically that makes that student get a bit of a higher mark, an ATAR of 95, placing him in the top 5% of students in the state. So he's got a reward for taking those particularly challenging courses, and quite rightly is judged to be at a slightly higher rank than some of his peers that didn't take those classes. Clearly that doesn't mean that everyone takes those courses, because everyone's not capable of taking those courses and it may not be appropriate. You can still get an incredibly high ATAR if that's your aim, by taking other subjects. So students are encouraged into the highest course that they're able to achieve success in. It is important to note that currently our bonuses are applied irrespective of whether it's in their top 4 subjects or not. So even if it's their 6 subjects, the bonus will still apply. And as I said, if the bonuses are removed in your year 12 year, there will likely be other centres placed and put in place. This is an example of how those incentives may work. Something else that's new in year 11 and 12, and then I'm going to stop talking about year 11 and 12 in so much detail, is this endorsed program idea. An endorsed program, and I'm sorry for the amount of text on the screen there, but endorsed program is something that happens externally to your standard curriculum to encourage a really broad range of educational experiences for your son in year 10, 11 and year 12. And you can gain credit for those educational experiences through your final WACE graduation certificate, and you can get some credits for units by getting C grades equivalents towards graduation. And often these endorsed programs or educational experiences outside of the curriculum will be looked on favourably for scholarships, for entrance into colleges and the like. Some endorsed programs, and there is a very large number that stretches over 2 A4 sheets of paper, things like the Duke of Edinburgh Awards, Surf Lifesaving Bronze Medallion, which all your sons will complete in year 10. Scuba diving ticket. There's so many different things there, whether it's Lewin Adventure Foundation, if you're an elite ballet dancer, there's credits there. Look, Endorsed programs are there externally that will go on the WASTE graduation certificate to demonstrate a broad educational experience. And they're not all conducted in school. These are conducted externally to school. Some will be signalled by the school, and Hale will let you know that these are occurring, and you'll sign up externally. But it is worth noting that these will count towards WASTE graduation if you have completed such courses over year 10, 11, year 12, separate to what happens in school. All right, I'm returning to my first slide because I think I've spoken at you enough about these particular courses. The principles, as we said, we need to satisfy the state requirements. So when you're selecting, you must be careful to select the HASS courses so that you've done all the HASS units that need to be done. And similarly for science, you can't opt out of physics or chemistry. You must do a physics, chemistry, biology, and earth and space science, but whatever combination that you wish to take it in. Please keep an eye on year 11 and 12 when you're making those selections. Choose an appropriate background for the particular year 11, year 12 course. Choose something they haven't tried before or something you may be interested in. Just have a go. If your son is particularly interested in a certain area, please don't be scared of allowing him to pursue that at a year 10 level because you never know where that may lead. There is end-of-year assessments in year 10 as well, so to improve their study habits for year 11 and 12. Okay, that is the end of my presentation as far as we go there, and I'm happy to take some questions because I realise there's a lot of information there and I may not have captured that as I had intended through my speech. So is there any questions that you may like to ask with the group? Yes? Yeah, absolutely. We hope to take some time with the heads of house, so there will be meetings with the heads of house over the next few weeks where you'll sit down and work out their particular interests. And then there's a couple more weeks where they can really drill down and think about it. These selections are important for me to help produce the timetable. So I'm looking for these to be in as early as possible this term. So hopefully I can begin timetabling at the end of the term. So the due date's there. I don't have exactly in front of me. I don't know whether Paula, you may be able to tell me, looking it up on the phone. But there is a good few weeks there to really be thinking about that and spending time with the course handbook and having a look. And it's important to note, if you make those selections now, and say by the end of the year you wish to change, there's enough flexibility in that year 10 timetable to be able to change. It's one of the beauties of this system. It was devised by my ex-colleague, James Borza. So if you do wish to change again, ideally, I have all the selections in place, put them on the right grid lines, and then we can change a little bit. And even up to the start of term 1, if they wish to change courses, as long as there's numbers that are allowable, they can still make a swap. Often also in semester 2, they'll realise that they weren't as interested in the semester 1 course, and there is an opportunity in that term 2 period to reselect for semester 2 as well. So there are junctures where kids, it's not, we try to make them get the right selection right now, but acknowledge that they may change their minds as they move through. Another question, please. You don't, yeah. The Chem 2 is just if they're really passionate about chemistry and they want to continue to understand chemistry at that level, they'll cover some of the year 11 material in that second course, but which is not necessarily required for year 11. So when they get to year 11, they'll be very comfortable with the material. They would have seen a lot of it before, which may give them a little bit more of an advantage in that particular course. However, if they don't take some Chemistry 2, it will be taught again in year 11 and they'll be able to learn it at that particular juncture. So most boys going into chemistry will take that Chemistry 1 unit. Many won't be able to select Chemistry 2 because there's so much other choice. But if that's their real area of passion and that's really what they want to choose over PE studies, for example, then they do choose that. So they're not disadvantaged in year 11, year 12 by not selecting Chemistry 2. It's just extra units for them to study and a broader range of chemistry knowledge moving on to 11 and 12. Yeah. Just after the midterm break. Thank you, Paula. Yes,
Sorry, my next question.
go for it.
My son's about to go on the frontier camp, so that's obviously going to hinder his ability to meet with his house coordinator in regards to this. And I don't want him to rush too much because I leave on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, those students will have extra time when they get back to be meeting up and discussing their choices.
Yeah, clearly for me, and it's really just a workflow thing for me, I'll be honest, it's if they're in as early as possible, that'll help me make some decisions around next year. But if it does take another week or 2 weeks, especially for those boys in the frontier group, we are completely understanding of that. Any other questions? No? Well, all right. Well, thank you very much for your attendance here this evening. If you have any individual questions that you wish to ask me afterwards, I'll be here to take them. So thank you.